Good morning. I'm kind of disoriented because this is not our committee room, and I am accustomed to the fact that Mr. Chabot is always on my right. Today he is on my left, and I don't know if there is any subliminal message here. I call this hearing to order. Today, we will examine legislation modernizing and extending the Small Business Innovation Research Program. SBIR is one of the government's largest sources of funding for innovation. It awards more than $2 billion in research grants every year, which enables the work of thousands of America's most innovative small firms. As science and technology evolve, however, so must this initiative. The authors of the program had great foresight. 25 years ago, they recognized early-stage firms could make important contributions regarding technological development. SBIR made it practical for these small and innovative companies to conduct research on behalf of the federal government. This has yielded groundbreaking advances, including unmanned aviation, needleless insulin patches, and a promising malaria vaccine. SBIR awards have supported R&D that strengthen our country's national security and public health infrastructure. In the process, it has helped launch leading technology companies such as Amgen, Qualcomm, and Symantec, employing thousands of Americans. From the committee's perspective, continuing this success is dependent on three primary issues. First, the number of small firms that apply for SBIR awards must increase. Second, awardees must have access to financing of all types, including venture capital. Third, the commercialization of SBIR-funded research projects must be more of a priority. The draft legislation we will consider this morning seeks to address each of these elements. In order for most firms to apply for SBIR, it doubles award sizes, providing more capital for important research projects. It also establishes a 90-day period for a decision on applications. This provision will enable small firms to get more capital more quickly and reduce the time it takes for research to go from the lab to the marketplace. Emerging economic sectors, including women, veterans, and minorities, are also brought into SBIR. This is achieved through the reauthorization and expansion of the Federal and State Technology Partnership Program. FAST will increase competition for federal research dollars, giving the taxpayers a better value. While SBIR has been a successful program, one of the critiques we have heard is that it is difficult to take the next step. The legislation addresses this by establishing a new primers initiative, which will provide the technical know-how and assistance many small firms need. The draft bill also ensures companies can choose from a wide array of external financing sources and that the SBA does not make this decision for them. We have included a provision that is identical to the amendment offered by Ranking Member Chabot on the House floor last fall. This gives certainty that businesses can make their own financing choices. It also frees them from worrying about being second-guessed by the government. SBIR-funded research needs must reach the consumer, whether it is the government or the private sector, and this legislation places a greater emphasis on commercialization. The changes consolidate the existing fragmented effort and expand it government-wide, which benefits all research sectors, including healthcare, energy, and agriculture. This improvement will entice, enable, and permit more small companies to advance the innovations that have made our economy so diverse and vibrant. They will help ensure that SBIR awards remain competitive, fund top-notch research, and produce cutting-edge breakthroughs. As a result, the SBIR program will keep pace with the very innovation that seeks to promote and will continue to foster next-generation technologies and therapies. That also means it will solidify our efforts to increase U.S. competitiveness worldwide. I look forward to today's hearing, and I want to thank all the witnesses in advance for their testimony. I now recognize Ranking Member Chabot for his opening statement.
Thank you. Good morning, and Madam Chairwoman, I want to thank you for holding this hearing to review a committee print of legislation reauthorizing and modernizing the Small Business Innovative Research Program. I'd like to extend a special thanks to each of our witnesses who have taken the time to provide the committee with their testimony, and especially Dr. Charles H. Matthews, who has a Doctor of Philosophy and Management from the University of Cincinnati. Dr. Matthews is a professor of entrepreneurship and strategic management at the University of Cincinnati's College of Business. He's also the founder and executive director of the university's Center for Entrepreneurship, Education, and Research, and the director of the university's College of Business Small Business Institute. We want to welcome you this morning, Dr. Matthews, and coincidentally, Dr. Matthews and I happen to go to the same grade school, same class, St. Catherine's in Cincinnati, and the same high school, class of 71. So we've known each other for a long, long time. He's here despite that, not because of that. We also want to thank Mr. Preston for being here today. I know he has an extremely busy schedule, so I think it's very commendable that he is with us here today, and we really do appreciate that. Today's hearing is the third in a series designed to collect information and data to help this committee draft legislation reauthorizing the SBIR program. On January 29th, we held a hearing that reviewed how well the SBIR program is performing. On February 13th, this committee's Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee held a hearing to review the SBIR program's role in the development and commercialization of innovative healthcare technologies. At each of these hearings, the committee received valuable information from academics, small businesses, and trade associations on the performance of the program. Based on this input, the committee developed draft legislation for the SBIR program's reauthorization. We are working toward developing legislation that modernizes and strengthens the SBIR program. The draft we have before us goes a long way toward achieving these goals. As the National Academies of Sciences noted in its report on the SBIR program, there are not adequate measures of performance in the SBIR program. The draft legislation before us addresses that issue by requiring agencies with an annual SBIR program of $50 million or more a year to create an SBIR advisory board to review the program quarterly and recommend improvements in that agency's operation of the program. The creation of these advisory boards and the annual report to Congress will allow far greater oversight and better management of the program. The draft bill also mandates that agencies required to have an SBIR advisory board must complete evaluation of competitive SBIR proposals within specific time frames. Additionally, the legislation doubles the authorized SBIR Phase 1 and 2 award amount and makes numerous other technical but important positive changes to the program. That said, I do have some concerns with a few of the provisions in the draft before us. I'm certain that the Chairwoman and her staff, as she and her staff have done since the beginning of this Congress, will work with me and with our staff in a bipartisan manner in an attempt to hammer out any differences that may come up as we continue with this process. To the Chairwoman's credit, as I've said many times, she has worked very cooperatively with a minority, and we expect nothing less in the future. Today we have excellent witnesses, as I mentioned before, here to provide us with discussion and comment on the draft legislation. We want to again thank you, Chairwoman, and thank you, Mr. Preston, for being here. We look forward to working with you on the improvement and reauthorization of the SBIR program. And